Today we are covering designing Microsoft Azure infrastructure solutions. To find the complete list of questions and answers, please go to the playlist link provided in the description. If you like this content, do like, share and subscribe to this channel. Question is, you need to recommend a solution to deploy containers that run an application. The application has two tiers. Each tier is implemented as a separate Docker Linux-based image. The solution must meet the following requirements. The front-end tier must be accessible by using a public IP address on port 80. The backend tier must be accessible by using port 8080 from the front-end tier only. Both containers must be able to access the same Azure file share. If a container fails, the application must restart automatically. Cost must be minimized. What should you recommend using to host the application? Option A. Azure Kubernetes Service AKS. Option B. Azure Service Fabric. Option C. Azure Container Instances. Option D. Azure Container Registries. Correct answer is option C. Next question is, you plan to deploy an Azure Databricks data science and engineering workspace and ingest data into the workspace. Where should you persist the ingested data? Option A. Azure Files. Option B. Azure Data Lake. Option C. Azure SQL Database. Option D. Azure Cosmos DB. Correct answer is option B. Next question is, you plan to archive 10 TB of on-premises data files to Azure. You need to recommend a data archival solution. The solution must minimize the cost of storing the data files. Which Azure storage account type should you include in the recommendation? Option A. Standard Storage V2 General Purpose V2. Option B. Standard Storage General Purpose V1. Option C. Premium Storage V2 General Purpose V2. Option D. Premium Storage General Purpose V1. Correct answer is option A. Next question is, you have an Azure subscription. Your on-premises network contains a file server named Server 1. Server 1 stores 5 TB of company files that are accessed rarely. You plan to copy the files to Azure storage. You need to implement a storage solution for the files that meets the following requirements. The files must be available within 24 hours of being requested. Storage cost must be minimized. Which two possible storage solutions archive this goal? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Option A. Create a general purpose V1 storage account. Create a blob container and copy the files to the blob container. Option B. Create a general purpose V2 storage account that is configured for the hot default access tier. Create a blob container, copy the files to the blob container and set each file to the archive access tier. Option C. Create a general purpose V1 storage account. Create a file share in the storage account and copy the files to the file share. Option D. Create a general purpose V2 storage account that is configured for the cool default access tier. Create a file share in the storage account and copy the files to the file share. Option E. Create an Azure Blob storage account that is configured for the cool default access tier. Create a blob container, copy the files to the blob container, and set each file to the archive access tier. Correct answer is option B and option E. Next question is, you plan to migrate data to Azure. The IT department at your company identifies the following requirements. Microsoft AZ-305. The storage must support 1 PB of data. The data must be stored in blob storage. The storage must support 3 levels of subfolders. The storage must support access control lists (ACLs). You need to meet the requirements. What should you use? Option A. A premium storage account that is configured for block blobs. Option B. A general purpose V2 storage account that has hierarchical namespace enabled. Option C. A premium storage account that is configured for page blobs. Option D. A premium storage account that is configured for file shares and supports large file shares. Correct answer is option B.